yeah, they just walked in and shut the whole thing down. Like, basically turned down all my levels and was like, I'm gonna kill you. So the Powermove started way back in 1988. Mastermind had this show on CHRY and he couldn't DJ. He was a great host, but wasn't that good of a DJ. So he brought me in. There was like this big ego clash between us, and we ended up falling out one night, and I called Ron Nelson from the station, from CHRY, just because, you know, I guess we'd become friends, and he was, you know, probably one of the only people that would understand what was going on and what it would mean to be, you know, to lose that position on the show. So he listened to me for a minute, and I was actually crying, like we're talking shedding tears. And he was like, you know what? He was like, forget about all that, man. He's like, come and do my show with me. At that time, there were really no outlets for, you know, hip hop. The spotlight was on CKLN. There were, you know, there was other stuff happening. There was CHRY with Mastermind, there was the Master Plan, but the spotlight was on the Powermove, you know, just from the momentum that Ron Nelson had brought in. In terms of the artists that I put on, that's, I mean, I get flooded when I think about that. But I think I would have to definitely say Chocolair. I think from a personal standpoint, I definitely tried to work him as much as humanly possible. He was putting out singles consistently. And I mean, you know, you could take it right back to 21 Years, which is like his first single. You know, I premiered that. I premiered all his records. I mean, you know, right on up to when I was on Kiss, which is way after the Powermove. Socks is another one. Socks was a little bit difficult. It's funny, like Socks didn't take to the Powermove right away. So his records would end up in the studio and I would premiere them, but it was a while before I actually met him. And if you listen to the beginning of one of his albums, and the name of that album escapes me right now, you'll actually hear a clip from the Powermove. And that's the intro to his album. So that was a pretty significant moment because, you know, Socks has been a pretty significant influence to hip hop music in this country. And he finally made it down, and, you know, we created a good working relationship. And I mean, him too. I mean, you know, all the records that he put out, you know, these guys would bring me the test pressings and, you know, I would put it on. Main Source. I didn't put on Main Source, but there were records that they brought to me, like for instance, Looking at the Front Door. Even before the test pressings, Cardinal, countless records, almost every record up until I got off the radio. The list goes on and on and on. I had so many significant moments, you know, during the Powermove, but, you know, I think one of the hugest ones for me was actually the very last show that I did. And I think it was so significant for me just because I like knew that I'd run this very long race and this very important race. It was like, wow, it was like, you know, look at all the people I helped put on, look at the difference that I made, you know, in this world. You know, again, it's not even serious. It's not like I changed the environment or anything. I played hip hop, but hip hop is important for people. You know, it's almost like religion. And so that was a very significant moment. Another significant moment was when I got shut down one day by this guy named Apple. So long story short, yeah, they just walked in and shut the whole thing down. Like, basically turned down all my levels and was like, I'm gonna kill you. I guess that was more of a vulnerable moment, you know what I mean? I don't know if I learned anything from it other than the fact that maybe it took me down a notch. You know, sometimes you think you're the man and it's like, you know, how could these people come in and shut me down? I think, You know, why that's significant is because that's where hip hop met my life. You know what I mean? It met my blood and like what I thought could happen and where things could go and, you know, how bad they could get. So there's good moments and there's bad moments. You know, I have three main areas in my life at this point, which is one, being a DJ, two, being a producer, and three, being a web developer. I'm in the middle of remixing a Simple Plan song, which is kind of interesting because, you know, hip hop has grown so much. Like back in the day, if you had said to me, would you remix a Simple Plan song? I'd be like, hell no. I was like, I don't like rock and roll, like get away from me. And even if I did like it, you know, I probably wouldn't just take that direction. I'm working on my own album. I don't know if it'll ever come out. Like, I've never really considered myself an artist. It's just something that I've wanted to try doing. You know, seeing all these artists over the years do stuff and bringing me demos and, you know, being in the studio with them and all that stuff. I think the end level of that is being able to actually write your own stuff and, you know, and perform it. So I'm working on that. Again, I don't know if anybody's ever gonna hear it. I don't know if I'll have the balls to put it out. I still do Live at the Barbecue, which I brought back last summer, which was pretty interesting too, because I haven't done it since 1998. You know, it was just interesting, the love that I got, you know, bringing that event back. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was overwhelmed. Like, I was glowing for like 3 months. People haven't forgotten. People still want to be involved and they still love it. They came there, they had a great time. And so that was real cool. And I look forward to doing that again, hopefully next year. You know, you get older and like, just even over the last 10 years, just walking the streets and hearing what it meant for people, you know what I mean? It's like, it's insane, man. Like, I never even realized. What up, this is DJX, and you're watching Retrospective.